We'll start with a small prayer. Gently close your eyes. Keep yourself grounded. If you're sitting in Sukhasana, feel your glutes and your legs down on the ground. Trying to lift your vertebral column up, lifting your belly up, elevating your rib cage, protracting your scapula, pushing your shoulders back widely, nicely, and collapsing them down. Relax your head and neck. Keep it in neutral state. Observe your whole body as one unit. The eyes are rolled down as if they are watching the tip of the nose. And they are watching the breath. Continue breathing deeply. And we'll chant 3 Omkaras. Inhale. Om. Om. Listen to the Dhyana Shloka. Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Mukhaṁ karoti vācālam Pangum langhayate girim Yat kripatamaham vande Paramanandamamadhavam Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam yena characharam Tatpadam darshitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Simple palming. On the previous class, we were learning about the conflict of the mental conflict that Arjuna had. The conflict was whether to do or to leave the action, whether to perform or to renounce the action. Because all these time, Krishna was highly appreciating the knowledge of Brahman, the Atma Vidya, the knowledge of self. And then he says, take the bow and start to fight. So Arjuna, it's very natural for any human to get confused at this point. So he asks Krishna, at one point you are asking me to renounce, and the other point you're saying me to fight, and you're asking me, you're triggering me, you're kindling me to do this hedonious act of killing people. What is that I should do? Krishna, with your mystic words, don't confuse me. Give me one simple solution for me to act or not. Krishna gives the answer in 3.3, third chapter, third shloka. Shri Bhagavanuvacha. Shri Bhagavanuvacha. Lokesmin vividha nishtha. Lokesmin vividha nishtha. Pura prokta maya nagha. Pura prokta maya nagha. Jnana yogena sankhyanam. Jnana yogena sankhyanam. Karma yogena yoginam. Karma yogena yoginam. Shri Bhagavan Vacha. The Blessed Lord says, look, Arjuna, there had been two nishthas. I cannot literally translate nishthas as pathways, but we will see what nishtha is. So he says there had been two nishthas since the beginning. Pura prokta maya anagha. O sinless one, I have already taught you people this. Two nishtas, two things. Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. The two are Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. Jnana Yoga is for Sankhikis, one who can renounce. Karma Yoga is for yogis. He calls us as yogis. So we are going to deeply delve into these two terms. Firstly, we're going to understand what nishtha is. What does Krishna mean as nishtha? Nishtha is Nishtha is a superior ensouling of spiritual implications. When you are endowed with these spiritual implications very naturally, spontaneously, and how does that occur? Dirgha kalo shitaha. Satu dirgha kala nairantarya satkara sevitaha dridabhumihi. With long-term practice, with shraddha involved, with reverence involved, if you're going to practice something which is going to progress you, which is going to develop your personality, it comes with all efforts. Yes, first you have to effortfully engage in some practice. Okay, from 6 to 7, I do yoga practice. From 7 to 7:15, 7:30, I do pranayama and meditation. So you have to engage yourself with your body, mind, intellect, come what may. Whichever urgency the phone call was ringing, I'm not going to take. So it needs an sumptuous amount of dedication, devotion, which comes with effort initially. But nishtha is more superior. When it automatically becomes your part and parcel of life. It becomes spontaneous. Like for hours together, we have been meditating, but only fractions of seconds we can call the state as meditation. Yeah. That is effortful because we are trying to sit, and this will happen because all the impurities surface up and they start to deliver their own reflections. So initially, the practice will involve lots and lots of effort. But Nishtha becomes very natural. Means the same meditation happens spontaneously while you are looking at the moon. Happens spontaneously while you're talking. All the chitta vrittis are inhibited or completely stopped. If such state is occurring, it is called Nishtha. And how will that be? It will be very stable because it has become your own part. It will never leave. It becomes very stable. So Krishna says there are two Nishthas, which means depending upon our personality, we have to internalize this practice. Completely being one with the practice that we are in. Identifying ourselves in such practice. Yes, it becomes Nishtha. Like for a goldsmith, to cut the gold in an accurate manner needs lots and lots of effort initially. But he knows how to cut the diamond, he knows how to cut the gold without tarnishing that particle, without creating any harm to that particle, and making it malleable enough to work out in a jewelry set. That kind of accuracy. He becomes supremely advanced with his eye power, vision, concentration. An amateur has to practice, but an age-old experienced goldsmith does that so like a thing that he can do by his left hand very easily. So Krishna says this has to occur as Nishtha. It has to be spontaneous. Okay. What kinds of Nishtha? He says there are two. I've already told about this. Where did you tell? You are Krishna, you're talking to me right now. Where did you tell? So Krishna, in his lordship avastha, in his state of being whom he is, being the Ishvara, being the Almighty he is, he's saying, I've spoken about this already. He's talking about Vedas. Vedas give two pathways. I can take this as pathways in a very layman's language. Okay. So Vedas talk about these two pathways. Yataha abhyudaya nishreyasa siddhihi sadharmaha. Vedas talk about two ways of dharma. Even Bhashyakara Acharya, Shankaracharya, speaks at this point that there are two dharmas prescribed. There are two pathways prescribed. What is this pathway? Dharma, which is righteousness, which is your own swarupa, the real nature that you got, is perfectly defined as abhyudaya and nishreyasa. Two facets. What is abhyudaya? Abhyudaya is working for the progress, for the development of a human personality, working for the growth with the worldly affairs. Definitely it engages gaining prosperity, wealth, fame? Yes. It is Abhyudaya. And the second one is Nishreyasa. Nishreyasa is self-realization. Liberating from this world for self-emancipation. Liberating us. Why? While working in the world, while working for the world, we gain all prosperity, fame, richness, house, assets, fat accounts, money, everything. But at the same time, the purpose of life should not be lost. Why are we here? Are we here to do all these worldly activities? Yes, but there is some more thing to do. What is that? Liberating ourselves from these worldly activities. So you should not get confused like Arjuna whether to do or not do. At one point you're saying doing actions. The other point you're saying liberating yourself from actions. What is that? So dharma, righteousness, says you have to work for yourself. You have to work for the community. You have to work for the family. You have to work for the nation. Work hard, strong, gain reputation, gain fame, gain money, all on the basis of righteousness, all on the basis of dharma. And at the same time, do not forget the real purpose of life, whether all the actions are binding you or not. With that wisdom in your hand, you do the actions. So dharma, righteousness itself means self-realization and social welfare. That's what I continuously say in the lecture sets, that there are two goals of life. One, to realize yourself. Two, contribute yourself for something for the society. If you're working, the work should be your contribution. Not necessarily that you are doing all charitable work. Contribution is never monetary, not always monetary. So contribution will happen only with surrender of fruitions to the actions. Only when you know that actions should not bind you by surrendering the expectations of outcomes. So Krishna says, Pura Prukta. I've already said in the olden times. So he is talking about Veda Dharma, where these two were already discussed. And now Krishna gives it as a easily coins a name which is easily understandable. Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga. Easily understand. What is Jnana Yoga? Jnana Yoga is for Sankhikis, for the renunciates, for the saints who renounces everything, all worldly affair. You go to Ramakrishna Matha, the mission, there are n number of saints. You go to Chinmaya mission, there are n number of saints. They don't have family for their own. What do? They read, pray, do the rituals, connect with the people, preach the teachings, so they take study circles of Upanishads, Bhagawad Gita, send them more. This is their work. Renouncing worldly activities does not mean they don't work. They work. But how do they work? As a renunciate, as a saint. So Jnana Yoga is for Sankhikis, to the ones who have well-established intellect, to the ones who has this discrimination power very strong, that this is true and this is untrue. But do we have same kind of personalities in this world? No. 80% of the world is all work-oriented. Yeah. We work and then we get satisfied. Every morning we get up to find some work to be done. Yes. So most of the personalities are work-oriented. For them, how to lead a life of Abhyudaya and Nishreyasa, they have to work. They have to work for the prosperity. They have to work for the harmony, for the community, for the people, for our own growth, for our own progress. But at the same time, as I mentioned, learn the art of offering the fruits of actions, surrendering the fruits of actions, thereby not getting bound by the work. Because work or action or karma is a knife which has sharp blades on both ends. You can't hold it. If you are holding on to it, you will cut, you will bruise yourself. So, to tread on the path of Karma Yoga, observe how you can transform this karma, transform these actions into yoga. What does yoga say? Yoga is communion. Yeah. Communion of body, mind, breath, in a very superficial manner. But yoga is actually communion with the Almighty, communion with the whole. Yes. So how do you commune when you are being individualistic? What happens in working? What happens while we are working? What happens when we are into actions? We are constantly reminded of individual progress. We are constantly involved into individual acknowledging, individual gaining. It is so very natural. The karma pulls you to that stratum. Hence, to tread on the path of karma is very risky, dangerous. Hence, everybody gets fearful about it. Dukkhameva sarvam vivekinaha. For vivekis, for the persons who have strong intellect, will find this worldly actions to be dukkha, will be completely suffering. So what to do? We have to suffer. We have to act. We have to suffer. No. We have to act, but choose not to suffer. How do you choose not to suffer? By changing the modality of action. By changing the modality of an action. You don't act like a donkey. You don't, right? Donkeys do the same actions again and again rhetorically, without any mind or intellect put into. We are humans. We are blessed with that buddhi, chittishakti, vijnanamaya kosha, the special intellect. So we can choose to do actions in a different manner. How to do actions in a different manner? While performing actions, focusing only on the process of actions, and while doing actions, understand that I am not the doer. So two things here. So you are focused totally in the process, not any way attached to the outcome. You're not looking outside. You're not looking far from what you're doing. So your total focus is in the process. Like the hen, I'm usually reminded of this Periva's example, that the hen is providing warmth to the eggs. It seems that it is seeing everywhere, all the places, but all her focus is to provide the warmth enough for the eggs to hatch. Yeah. So it is continuously focusing on the process alone, in living in the present. And at the same time, renounce the kartrutva bhuktrutva, which means you understand yourself not being the doer, not being the enjoyer. Why and how? Why should I do it? I am doing it. Why should I renounce the doership? I am doing it. Why should I renounce for someone else some title to be acknowledged when I am doing all the job? This is what ego interferes and gives us lessons. This is how it does. So Krishna says, look at the fact. If you're going to write a poem, okay, if you're going to write a poem in Romanian, you're going to write a poem in Hindi, you're going to write a poem in English. Is the poem really authored by you? Do you really, on all parts of yourself, writing this poem? No. You are being fed with words by the teacher of the first grade who taught you different words, the vocabulary. And it is being offered by whom? The first grade teacher or your parent or some inspiration of a poem that you've got with. Now, for doing an action, one piece of action of writing a poem, without any ancillary support, all by yourself, as an individual, you can't write. Similarly, okay, forget poem. How about breathing? How about closing your eyes and opening? Every action which is thought to be done by you is actually a cumulative action, an effect done by additional ancillary supports which is present in this universe, and then they collectively form some energy for you to produce that poem, produce something. Isn't that not a fact? Yes, an undeniable fact. If that is the case, how can you proclaim yourself being the doer first? How can you enjoy the outcome of the action all alone by yourself? Which means all this time of whichever you present in your biodata as is not your achievements. It's a cumulative effect. What you identify as in that biodata of yours is a cumulative effect and not definitely you. If that is the case, how can you enjoy the outcome? That's the question. So Krishna is very categorically refusing that you don't have any right towards outcome. If an action is a cumulative effect, the outcome of the action will also go to n number of people's mouths. It cannot be individualistic. It will always be cumulative. And asking for that claim, that tall claim, that this is mine, this has to be this way because I did it, is false and very notorious. We are being naughty in this. If we want only the fruit of us, or if the fruit is denied, we don't want any fruit. I've seen people mentioning, I don't want any fruit. At least there shouldn't be any insult done to me, or they shouldn't speak bad. Bad mouthing is not good. No, that's what people say. What does this eventually mean? This has eventually meant that while acting, I have been thinking that nobody should badmouth me when this action fructifies. Nobody should insult me when this action fructifies. Which means I've already seeded some expectation during the process, not working on the process, but working on the outcome. So it is not getting appreciated alone. Even when you are insulted, even when you are pulled down, even when you are defamed, you should not feel anything wrong about it. Because the action was not yours. Whichever fruit comes will not be yours. Like, for example, I give you 5 rupees. Okay? 5 rupee coin. Or 5 lei to you. Okay? And you don't accept it. Okay. Where does the coin go? Whose is the coin now? Who belongs to that coin? Me, myself. You haven't accepted it, goes back to me, right? Similarly, when you don't accept the fruit at all, whether it is right or wrong, whether it is good or bad, how does it matter to you? It will not come to you. It will not come to you. So, bad mouthing, insults, pulling leg, if that is the outcome of any action, you haven't accepted the fruits of action, so it will not influence you. That is Karma Yoga. Karma Yogena Yoginam. To the yogis, he says. So one who practices this is the real yogi, not the person who does asanas better, not the person who can bring the forehead down to the knee, not the person who can bring right leg over the left shoulder, left over the right, doing Omkarasana. No. Everybody thinks the greatest yogi to be the most flexible, or one who can stop heartbeats, fill in a box. This is what everybody thinks. So previously I got a picture in the WhatsApp where, again, my colleague in Bangalore, he sent this picture where it said yogis that everyone believe, and there were so many contortionists in the pictures beneath the line. And there was another statement, advanced yogis, where picture of Adi Shankaracharya and great saints were lined below, were lined up. So we always think yogi is a person who can do asanas better, who can meditate better. But Krishna says yogis are those who understands the secret way of doing karma. What is the secretial way of doing karma? Not getting bound by it. How do you not get bound by the actions? Reduce it down by employing non-doership, non-enjoyership, working only in the process of the work. So he is the real yogi. If the greatest of the greatest yogi, who is that? Krishna himself. He is a yoga Maharaj. He is the greatest yogi. And he calls Karma Yoga, people who follows Karma Yoga, as yogi. Look at the height he had kept Karma Yogis in which. So, as concluding remark, understand which personality you are. Are you a persona who has sharp intellect of defying untruth from truth? You can renounce the entire world by providing all of your time only in universal working for the universe and unattached. Then you have to get aligned with the nishtha, which has to be spontaneous, which has to be a natural occurrence of renouncing. Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga. You have to adopt into that frame. Or, no. I can't live without working. When I wake up in the morning, I have to look after my plants. I have to see. I have to look after my kids. I have to look after my pets. I have to look after this. If this is your frame, if this is your mental frame, then Karma Yoga is the only thing that you've got to adopt. So do all your actions with internal renouncing, with renouncing the state of kartrutva and bhoktrutva, doership and enjoyership. Thereby, you focus only on working and not giving importance to the fruits of the actions, and have clarity about it. So Sankhya Yoga and Jnana Yoga, where are the two nishtas, two so-called pathways that Vedas have already proclaimed of, and Krishna is re-emphasizing upon the same. So Krishna says, now to clarify Arjuna's doubt whether to act or not, he's saying, you are a karma yogi, my dear. If you're going to meditate under a tree, Arjuna, you're going to think about your wife, how she was defamed, and you're going to get angry with your brothers. What is the point in meditating? He says, don't fight for your wife. Don't fight for the wife's defamation, but fight for the universe. Fight for the better kingdom. This is what Arjuna was given as a piece of advice. I stop here and we can start the discussion.